Hello viewers, welcome back to my YouTube channel. So in today's video, we'll be looking at DHCP configuration, both on Cisco router and on non-Cisco router. Okay, so first of all, what is a DHCP? Now, DHCP is a dynamic host configuration protocol. Now, it is a protocol that allows us to assign IP addresses automatically to our network. So by us configuring a DHCP on a router, we can be rest assured that all our devices can receive the required network parameters like IP addresses, subnet marks, default gateway, and DNS without us configuring these settings manually. Now, also take note that in DHCP configurations, every device you connect to that particular router which has that DHCP configuration will receive IP address automatically. Okay, in your network, there are some devices you don't want them to receive an IP address automatically, or you don't want their IP address to be interchanging, because what automatic assign IP address does is whenever you switch off that particular device and turn it up again, it might receive a different IP address. And there are some devices on your network you don't want that to be occurring on. Okay, so devices like your printer, your server, IP cameras on the network, and other specific unique devices that you don't want their IP address to be changing whenever the system goes off and on. Okay, so what devices like your desktop, your laptop, your phones can receive IP address automatically from your router. So let's see the step-by-step procedure of configuring a DHCP on a router. Okay, so we're going to set up a network and we'll configure a DHCP server on our router, then connect some devices to it. Also connect devices like the server and printer and exclude a unique IP addresses for these devices. Okay, so setting up our network, we include a router. We'll get a switch. So this switch will serve as our intermediary device. So we'll get some PCs. Let's have like 1, 2. Let's get a laptop. So let's have a server connected to the same network, but the IP address of this server will be excluded from the DHCP pool of our router. Okay, and also let's have another device, maybe let's say which device can we get now? Which device can we add to this network? Okay, let's have a printer. Okay, now this printer IP address too will be excluded from the IP address that will be coming from the DHCP pool from our router. Okay, so let's do this connection. Remember your type of cable and what cable to use for each devices. Okay, in this video I'm going to be using the auto select option here. If you don't know your type of cable and what cable to use to connect what device, you should check out the video on my YouTube channel. Okay, so I'm going to be connecting this router to this switch, and the switch to the printer, to the laptop, to the PC, to this PC. The cable cannot connect to that port. Let's know why. But before then, let me connect it. Okay, now let's see if we have available ports. Okay, we need more ports on our switch. Okay, we need more ports on our switch, so we can get ports from this module here. Okay, we can add more ports to this switch. Let's turn it off. So zoom in. I've done a video on how to add more ports to your devices. Okay, but let me just do it quickly in this video. So turn off this switch, add port to these extra modules here, to this extra slot, sorry. All right, so once you are done, turn on the system back. So this is applicable in real devices. Okay, so if you're on site and the available port on your switch is not enough for your devices, if you have an expansion slot on that switch, you can get ports and install on it. Okay, so let's go back and continue the connection. So we have added more ports, we can add more device to it. Okay, so let me allow this here, let me allow this here. So this port here is on administratively down. So if you watch, this flag here is showing red, that means it's on administratively down. So for us to turn it up, we're going to click on the router and come to CLI. Or let's do something unique. Okay, let's assume we are on site, because we're going to be applying this on real devices on site. Okay, so let's assume that we are on site. All right, so if you're on site, what you need is a laptop, a console cable, then your connection to your router. Okay, so let's get a laptop. Yeah, so let's get a laptop. Let's get a console cable. So this is a console cable. So from the laptop, from the RS232 of the laptop to the console port. Okay, so to the console port of your router. So click on your laptop. So I'm just assuming we are on site and we are using real device to run this scenario. Okay, so click on your router. Okay, now sorry, on your PC you're going to download a software like PuTTY. Okay, so once you download that software like PuTTY, you run the software on your system, then you can have interface this way. Okay, so once you click on that software, you're going to have an interface that will take you to the CLI of your router. All right, so click on the laptop, come to desktop, click on terminal, right? Then here just leave the settings the way they are. Okay, so now we are now on the CLI of this router through the PC. Okay, so here we're going to say no. So the first thing you need to do is to enter the privilege exec mode using this command. I've done a video on different commands we have on Cisco routers, so you can watch that video. So enable, for us to get to the global configuration mode, we're going to use the command configure terminal. All right, so we are here. So the first thing we are going to do in this configuration is to enable DHCP. Okay, so service DHCP. All right, enter. Now before I proceed, remember we are connected to this router through this console cable. You can also configure this router through SSH, so we don't need this cable at all. Okay, so through SSH you can also connect to your router wirelessly. All right, if you want the video on how you can configure DHCP through SSH, that is, you can be at home and do your configuration wherever your router is. If you want that video, please comment on the comment section below. I'm going to make the video on that. All right, okay, so let's continue. So the first step is to use the command enable. The second step is to enter the global configuration mode. The third step is to enable DHCP. Then the fourth step is to create a DHCP pool. So how do we do that? IP DHCP, okay, pool. Now the pool name, we can call it Nikitis. Okay, Nikitis, enter. So the next step is to set the network stroke subnet mask. Okay, now specify the network range for your DHCP client. Okay, so we're going to use this command network. Now what is the network we want to use? So let's say like 192.168. Let's say .2 or .1.0. okay, /24 will be 255.255.255.0. okay, so that's /24. So the next is to set up a default router. Okay, now configure the default router, typically the router IP address. So we're going to give an IP address to this router, not to this interface. Okay, so we're giving an IP address to the router itself. Okay, we're also going to configure an IP address on this interface so that these devices can be able to get into the device and make use of the DHCP pool we have on the router. Okay, so to configure the default router, we're going to use the command default. Sorry, this is default default router, then the IP address. So we can say 192.168.1.1. okay, enter. So we can also use this IP address for this interface here. All right, so we're going to do that in a minute. So the next is to configure the DNS server. So specify one or more DNS servers. So we're going to just specify one. So DNS server, let's use IP address 192.168.1.2. okay, .1.2. so let's use this as our DNS server. Enter. So the next is to set up the lease time. Okay, now define how long an IP address is leased to a particular client. So when I'm talking about clients here, I mean your hosts, okay, the devices that is connecting. So the command is lease so the days can be maybe 9, hours can be let's say 2, the minutes can be let's say 1. Enter. Okay, I don't think this router has that capability. Okay, though this is optional. Okay, you mustn't do it, it is optional. All right, but in case your router on site has this, you can specify that. All right, so the next thing is to do some excluding. Okay, so let's see how we can exclude some IP address. Remember, I said that the server and the printer does not need to be collecting IP address automatically from this router. The reason is whenever the system is off, when they come back on, they collect a different IP address from what they already have. Okay, so I don't want our server to be having different IP address whenever it goes up and on. All right, so let's do some excluding of IP addresses. So a few of the IP address will be excluding from the DHCP pool will be this interface IP address, the IP address we're going to give to this router, and the IP address of this server, and also the IP address for our DNS server. Okay, so IP DHCP excluded excluded address. So let's say 192.168.1.1. that is this interface IP address. Okay, enter. So let's also do that for the DNS, which is .2. Okay, you can also do this in range if you want. Then let's also do that for .3. So .3 will be for this server and .4 will be for the printer. Okay, so .3 and for .4. So that is it. Okay, so we are done configuring DHCP pool on this router. Let's save our configuration. So exit. All right, we can use this command. There are different commands you can use to save your configuration, but let's use right here. Okay, so our configuration has been saved. Now, how can we view this DHCP statistics? Okay, the command to view that is show IP DHCP. DHCP. Okay, pool. Okay, so once you do that, you're going to see your DHCP pool. Now, if you watch, you excluded 4 IP addresses. All right, so our pool is from 1 to 254. So excluding this. So whenever this router is giving out IP address, is going to exclude 4 IP addresses which you have specified. All right, so assuming the list option was able to let us configure it, to view it, we're going to be using this command show IP DHCP list or binding. Okay, so let's use binding. So we could have seen the configuration here, but this router was not able to do that configuration. Let me try something. Configure T. Okay, let me see. Do we have anything like list on this interface? List 900. Okay, the option is not here. So for us to be able to see those excluded IP address which we have added to this router, we're going to use the command show. Okay, let's go back, exit. Let's go back to the privilege mode, exit. Okay, show running space. Okay, space. So we're going to be using that pool. Then include exclude. Excluded address. Okay, so you can see the excluded IP address which we have on which we have included on this router. Okay, so this is the command you can use to see the excluded IP addresses you have. All right, so let's go back to our PCs and see if these PCs can receive IP address automatically from the router. So click on any PC, come to configure, come to desktop, IP configuration. Now it's on static. Click on DHCP. So we are receiving an APIPA IP address. Okay, so this is not the IP address we need. Okay, so this IP address means that there is no network and it's not seeing any place to get IP address from. All right, so that's why we are having an APIPA IP address. So what we are going to do is to check where we have done a wrong configuration. Okay. Now, first of all, we have not turned on this interface, and secondly, we have not pointed any gateway for these systems to see this router. Okay, so remember, we are supposed to configure a gateway for these systems to be able to use to reach to this network. All right, so let's go back. I forgot that. So I entered the global configuration mode. Sorry, I've started doing this configuration here. We're supposed to be doing this from this system. Okay, we're supposed to be doing this from this system. So just forgive me. Every configuration we have done here can still be done from here. It just escaped my mind. All right. So okay, if you watch, they are also affected here. So all those configuration we did was also affected here. All right. So configure T. So interface, let's see the interface again. So over here, so F0/0. So interface F0/0, enter. All right, let's say IP address 192.168.1.1. Okay, 255.255.255.0. enter. Okay, no shut. Okay, so let's activate this interface. No shutdown, enter. So the interface is up. Okay, let's try again. So come back here and click this and come back to DHCP. We are still getting this IP address. Okay, come down. Let's do this again. Let's check another system. Configure IP. Okay, we are still getting this IP address. Where is this problem coming from? Where is our problem coming from? Let's check. So let's check exit. Okay, exit. Do show IP interface brief. Okay, so on that interface we have this IP address 192.168.1.1 and is up. Okay, let's see DHCP pool, and we have from this to this excluding 1. Okay, excluding 0. Okay, so all right, so successful. Okay, I think it was initializing also. Okay, so successful now. It is receiving IP address now automatically from the router. Okay, so let's check this. All right, we are good. So if you observe, we are getting, the first one was 5, this was 6. Let's see which one this we get. Okay, so this is getting 1.7. okay, that is cool. So for our server, we're going to configure it to static. Okay, so we can give it the gateway 192.168.1.3, right? Yes, 3. No, 1 for the gateway. Then we can copy this and paste. Okay, server will be 2, right? Yes. So server will be 2. So we have gateway and server. So for the IP address, we can give it 3 as we have configured, and subnet mask is 255.255.255.0. Okay, so that's all here. So that means this cannot receive automatically. We are configuring it statically. So coming back to our printer, we're going to repeat the same configuration. So our printer gateway. Okay, so let's give it a gateway .1, then DNS.2. Okay, so that will be all. You can give it an IP address .4 and subnet mask 255.255.255.0, and that will be all. So I can just make just add color to this design. Okay, so we can have this. All right, so this is basically the simplest way you can configure a DHCP on a Cisco router. Remember, like I said, this can also be done on a real device. If you are on site, just do exactly what I did. Get your laptop, get a console cable, configure the connect it to the router, then download this software PuTTY, enter the interface of your router, then follow the exact procedure which I have shown in this video. Like I said, you can also do this remotely using SSH. If you want me to make a video on that, you can comment on the comment section below. Now, how can you configure DHCP on a non-Cisco router? The exact step may vary depending on the brand and model of the router you are using. Now, here are some common steps you can use to configure DHCP on a non-Cisco routers.